Before we start, I ask all of you to join the brand new channel. It is just called Pack. Please subscribe to it. I'm trying to grow. This is where I'm going to be making my React videos and IRL content. There's already a couple videos up, so if you could join, that would be a blessing. And thank you for watching. Now let's get this video started. John Wall is a miracle. What he has been doing so far is astronomically insane. It doesn't even make sense. I understand the season's early and he hasn't done much just yet, but so far he is defying all the odds as an NBA player. Let me remind you kind of where John Wall is at the moment. John Wall, since May of 2015, he has had 10 injuries. That is about 2 injuries every single year. It is hard to expect any NBA player to come back from these kinds of injuries, and yet John Wall is doing an amazing job. He had a heel injury back in 2018 and he was out for 6 to 8 months. While recovering at home, he ended up slipping in his house and he ended up rupturing his Achilles tendon. Now, it has already been talked about very often that NBA players who tear their Achilles really do not come back the same. And I could give you the millions of examples, but I do think that's been over talked about, and I think all of you basically know about that already. Very few players just come back the same in general. They lose a lot of their athleticism, and on top of that, not only expecting them to come back the same, that's already asking one thing. For them to come back in general is also very difficult. Many players, when they rupture it, kind of find a hard time trying to get back into the league at all. There has been some players that have come back successful. Rudy Gay came back, even though he lost his athleticism, he was able to change his game, shoot a lot more. And with the Spurs, I feel that he's been having a pretty good season and a half so far. Kevin Durant came back basically the exact same, but to be fair, Kevin Durant's game has never been predicated 100% on athleticism. So these two players aren't the best examples with John Wall, who was probably the fastest player in the league just a couple years ago and relied 100% on how fast he was to get open shots and drive into the lane. On top of that, he uses quickness to play great defense, which he did very well, and because he attracts so much attention, he would kick it out and he would get players open. So John Wall's game was very, very heavily focused on athleticism. So when he came back after these 2 injuries, after 2 entire years, I did not expect him to do very well. I don't think any of us expected him to do very well. I mean, it was destined to fail. I mean, this is exactly what the Wizards thought. They had Bradley Beal. They want to make sure they have one more piece on this team so that they can make the playoffs. I mean, they were almost good enough to make the playoffs last year. They knew that if they had one more player, they could succeed. They thought John Wall was not going to be able to come back the same, and so they decided to trade with the Rockets for Russell Westbrook. They took the gamble, and at the moment, they have lost the gamble because the Wizards have started their season off 0-5, and now with the Rockets with an entire full healthy team, they're 1-0. They are 1-2 right now, but the first 2 games they did not have John Wall or DeMarcus Cousins because of COVID. Now, it's not even just how insane that is in the first place, but let's not forget that John Wall has not played an entire NBA game in 2 whole years. That means 2 whole years of recovery, but that doesn't change the fact that he has not played. The NBA and basketball in general is not something you can just come into, even if you're practicing every day. The game versus practice is so different, and yet John Wall has come back insane, and even in the preseason, he had an amazing preseason, which should have been a big sign. Players that have a good preseason and also have a good start to the year is usually a very good sign that they're going to have a successful season. And John Wall has done this and then some. After playing last night, he had an amazing game. John Wall ended the night with 22 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, a steal, a block. He shot 40% from the field. He shot a terrible 25% from 3, but he was 4 for 4 for his free throws, and he had about 5 turnovers. Now, the stats aren't perfect, but he had a very good game for his first game of the year. With the 9 assists is a big deal. On top of that, a good amount of points, and even though 40% isn't the best field goal percentage, that's pretty good for your first official basketball game back in 2 years. The 3-point percentage is pretty bad, but also he was never known as an elite shooter in the first place. His field goal percentage for the 3 was never that good. On top of that, again, this is his first time shooting in a game in like forever, so you can only expect him to do so much. On top of that, he was playing fantastic defense throughout the game. He was still getting his teammates open, and he was not out of place when James Harden was on the court. They both succeeded together at the exact same time. Even though James Harden is an extremely ball-dominant player, it did not matter. They played very well. The biggest deal about all this in the entire game is that John Wall still looked really quick. He still looked really explosive. He took it to the basket without fear, possession after possession, fast break after fast break. He was attacking the rim, even having a couple dunks in the game. Now, I won't lie to you. I'm not going to act like he's exactly the same. He's definitely a little bit slower, and he definitely has a shorter vertical than before. There's no doubt. However, when you have one of the better verticals and when you have one of the faster players get a little slower and a little less of a vertical, you're still really fast compared to everybody else. You could see that when he was completely blowing by players. You could tell that he was not as fast as he used to be, but it didn't matter because he was so quick still. This is fantastic. This is a huge deal for John Wall. Maybe this is just a product of modern medicine, but what he has been doing so far is so impressive and honestly inspirational. People are forgetting how good the Rockets offseason has been. It might have been the best. They pick up Christian Wood, who is a destined 20-point per game scorer. You have DeMarcus Cousins, who is finally healthy. And if he can just be half of what he used to be, we're still talking about one of the best centers in the NBA. And they have a miracle with John Wall right now. And you still have the best shooting guard in basketball. This can be a really good team. The problem is James Harden. James Harden has still wanted to leave the team, he still wants to be out, and he still wants to get traded. But here's the thing, the team could be good. The team could seriously be good. I understand why James Harden wants to be traded. His pressure to win a championship is extreme. It's at an all-time high. He is not getting any younger, and the expectations for him are growing and growing and growing as father time starts to kick in. So he wants to play for a really good team, but that's because he was assuming the Rockets were not going to be a good team this year. However, with the talent they have, the way they've been playing, and the fact that they have barely practiced together at all and played at the exact same time, is a huge deal as to why they may not be exactly where they need to be. But over this season, throughout the year, let's see how good they are. Harden, just stay for a couple games. Hell, stay for a couple months. See how it goes. See how good the team gets. And if the team is even resembled as a good playoff team, stay. You can win a championship. He's still one of the best players in the league. He can seriously do it. I think the management for the Rockets should just ignore his wishes of trades and keep playing him and keep trying to make this team grow, because for all we know, this is a really good team and they need to be given a fair chance. That is my belief on this team. For all we know though, hopefully John Wall can keep it up and have a great season, maybe even an all-star season if he can keep up a high level of play. Who knows? We hope so. Thank you for watching this video. If there's any topics you want me to cover, leave it in the comments below. And if you like this channel, give it a sub, and I'll see you guys next time. If you want all the latest news of NBA 2K and also NBA in general, you should follow me on my Twitter account at PackHoopsYT. Not only that, I do giveaways all the time when it comes to VC, games, and also even consoles. So check it out, follow me, and see you there.